This episode is brought to you by Progressive, America's #1 motorcycle insurer. Everything is more exhilarating when you're on your motorcycle, just like your bike is more protected when you choose Progressive Motorcycle Insurance. They offer coverage for your bike, starting as low as $75 per year. And they keep things affordable, with discounts like paid in full, multi-policy, and responsible driver. So raise your kickstands and get to quoting at Progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. $75 premium is for state minimum coverage. Not available in D.C. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
I'm Cyndi Lauper. My psoriasis was all over, even on my scalp, which may mean 4 times the risk for psoriatic arthritis. But Cosentyx works on both.
Cosentyx secukinumab is prescribed for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis 300 milligram dose and adults with active psoriatic arthritis 150 milligram dose. Don't use if you're allergic to Cosentyx. Before starting, get checked for tuberculosis. An increased risk of infections and lowered ability to fight them may occur, like tuberculosis or other serious bacterial, fungal, or viral infections. Some are fatal. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms like fevers, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, had a vaccine or plan to, or if inflammatory bowel disease symptoms develop or worsen. Serious allergic reactions and severe eczema-like skin reactions may occur. Learn more at Cosentyx.com or 1-844-COSENTYX. Ask your doctor about Cosentyx.
EVO.
This series contains adult language. Listener discretion advised.
Hey there, everybody. So we thought we'd do an episode about the rarest, most expensive collectible record in the world. And we realized, oh shit, it's a rap record.
Yeah, oh shit, because we had no idea what we were going to be talking about, as usual.
As usual, yeah. We didn't even know the difference between rap and hip-hop. So if we're going to do this episode, we had a lot to learn. Hi, I'm Bruce.
And I'm Jeff. Welcome to Taboo Treasures, a weekly podcast that explores the human obsession with gathering and collecting not just objects of value, but objects of extreme rarity and infamy.
Today's episode, the Wu-Tang Clan's Once Upon a Time in Shaolin.
Wu-Tang only made 1 copy and sold 1 copy.
Only 1 copy?
1 copy. As a lifelong Wu-Tang fan, that's not right.
I don't think this is going to work.
The purchase of is it Wu-Tang Clan? Is that the name of the album? Name of the group?
I love that guy. So before we get into the 1 copy of the Wu-Tang Clan's Once Upon a Time in Shaolin, we'd like to talk about its roots in 13th century Mali, a country in West Africa.
That was back before the written word in that part of the world, and there were these people called griots, who were the village storytellers, and they played basic handmade instruments while they told the stories of families and local events and even history. And that style of talking while music is playing is rap music as we know it at its root form.
Yeah, this tradition carried over during slavery. One of the ways the slaves would cope with the horrible lives they were forced into was to sing. In the field, slaves would often sing using call and answer. One leader would call out a certain part of the song, and the rest of the slaves would answer with the next line. Some say this is where emceeing and crowd participation in hip-hop got its start.
Yeah, and most modern-day authorities on the history of rap say it started in 1973, August 11 to be precise. A young guy named Clive Campbell and his sister in New York started hosting these back-to-school parties in the rec room of their building. And pretty soon, Clive realized that talking on the mic was just as important to keeping a party going as the musical part of DJing.
So he got a friend of his named Theodore Puccio to be the first dedicated MC. Puccio went by the name Coke La Rock as he came out with what is credited as being the first line ever of a rap song. Hit it, Jeff.
Why me? All right. There's not a man that can't be thrown, not a horse that can't be rode.
A bull that can't be stopped. There's not a disco that I, Coke La Rock, can't rock. And I'm not Coke La Rock.
Wow, that was really good. So Clive became known as DJ Kool Herc, and a lot of experts agree that was the night rap was born. We're not going to get in the weeds on the history, but when we get into Once Upon a Time in Shaolin, it's important to frame its place in the development of rap.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about rap's impact on culture. Like we said in the opening, we don't know what we're talking about. I mean, we really didn't know the difference between rap and hip-hop. But when we looked it up, it's rap is the genre of music and hip-hop is the culture that sprang from it. It's the clothes, breakdancing, graffiti, all these things that created this lifestyle called hip-hop.
Right. You can look at it sort of like rock and roll being the overall genre, but then there are subgenres like punk or grunge that are more like the lifestyle, the mohawks and flannel shirts or whatever.
Yeah. So anyway, the first rap song to ever be played on the radio was Rapper's Delight by the Sugar Hill Gang in 1979. It was so big and took off so much that even my 63-year-old wife from Miami Beach...
Don't tell people how old she is, she'll kill you.
Well, they might think I have some young 20-year-old wife that wouldn't know about it either. But I said, Sue, do you remember Rapper's Delight by Sugar Hill Gang?
What happened next was miraculous.
She broke into it and did 4 verses of it, word for word. And Jeff was blown away. We're going to try and get her to do it for us. Yeah, let me go get her now. Hey, Sue. Hey, Sue, come on in. So remember the other day we told you we were doing this podcast about the Wu-Tang Clan, and I brought up the first hip-hop song on the radio, and you broke into some good rapping. And
how could I forget?
And Jeff kind of freaked out and loved it.
I almost had a heart attack.
So why don't you spit a little bit for us, for a little Rapper's Delight.
Okay, all right. I said hip, hop, a habit to the habit, a hip, a hopping, you don't stop, a rocking to the bang, bang, boogie, the upchuck, the boogie to the rhythm of the boogity bee. Skilly, wee bop, and Scooby-Doo. And guess what? America, we love you. When there's rock and roll, where you're so much soul, you can rock till you're 101 years old. I don't mean to brag, I don't mean to boast, but I like hot butter on a breakfast toast. Rock it out. A baby bubba to the boogie to bang, bang, the boogie to the beat, beat.
All right. Yes, ma'am.
I would do more, but,
Well, that's all we paid you for.
Exactly.
Yeah, we only had you for a minute. That's perfect.
You want to do another take?
No, she's good.
Have you ever went over a friend's house to eat and the food just ain't no good? I mean, the macaroni soggy, the peas all mushed, and the chicken tastes like wood. So you try to play it off like you think you can by saying that you're full. And he says, Mama, he just being polite. He ain't finished. All that's bull.
Yes, ma'am.
It was a different verse.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Suzanne Whitkin, everybody.
Thank you. I'm the singer in this family.
Yes, you are. Speaking of white women, Deborah Harry and the band Blondie released a song called Rapture that went to #1 on the Billboard charts.
That was 1980, right?
Yeah, I believe it was. Like a little bit more than halfway through the song, Deborah Harry started rapping, which I remember hearing that going, that's kind of cool. Blondie wasn't known for rapping. They were a punk rock band from the CBGBs in New York, downtown Manhattan.
Yeah, that was like the Ramones, Television, New York Dolls.
Talking Heads, yeah.
Talking Heads, yeah. And then I guess Blondie became more of a rock and roll band.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's interesting to hear the influence of the underground rap scene getting into that record.
It is. Yeah, and not that anyone's ever going to accuse Debbie Harry of actually being a rapper, but it really was a significant moment in the context of the history of rap. So let's run through some of the watershed moments in rap, starting with Raising Hell by Run DMC being the first certified gold rap record in 1984.
Yeah, in 86, I remember Rick Rubin, Run DMC's producer, suggested they team up with Steven Tyler and Joe Perry from Aerosmith for a version of Walk This Way, which was a hit for Aerosmith in the 70s. This kind of brought hip-hop and rock and roll together to the mainstream. It was on rotation on VH1 and MTV like crazy.
Yeah, definitely.
You couldn't get away from that video.
Yeah, and that was the same year that Run DMC became the first rap band to do Saturday Night Live. And following that, they did the cover of Rolling Stone. So it all culminated in them having the first certified platinum rap record.
As well, in '86, the first rap record to reach #1 on the Billboard charts was the Beastie Boys' License to Ill debut record.
Yeah, which ironically is, white kids. I mean, it was cool,
yeah,
but it was white kids.
So a few years later, in '88, NWA released their legendary first album, Straight Outta Compton, which kind of changed everything. I mean, their lyrics were, talked about poverty and oppression in the ghetto and against police brutality and hopelessness. It was raw, it was honest, and some say it was the birth of gangster rap or reality rap.
Yeah, and then in 1990, there were a couple of things that took rap even farther into the mainstream, which, to be fair, at the time, kind of meant white America.
Yeah. So we spoke about the first #1 rap album, which was the Beastie Boys. This is the first rap single song to hit '1 on Billboard charts, which was none other than Vanilla Ice, Ice Ice Baby.
The guy is so white that he had vanilla and he had white in the title.
Yeah, we asked our friend Dan, who happens to be black, we're like, what did you think about that record? Remember the other day?
I forgot we asked him.
And he said, well, at least the boy could dance, is what he said. That's what he said.
Which is pretty fair.
Yeah.
So in the same year, NBC debuted Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which was obviously a sitcom intended for white America, or mainstream America at least, with a rap song as its theme song, which was very, groundbreaking at the time.
And then a few years later, in 1993, the Wu-Tang Clan released their debut album, 36 Chambers, and it changed how the world would view hip-hop. Their lyrics dealt with some of the most traumatic aspects of being black in America, with humor and charisma unlike any music group before them.
So in '92, two guys who met in a housing project in Staten Island created a hip-hop group based in the Eastern philosophies they picked up from kung fu movies, comic books, and the 5% Nation teaching, which is a black nationalist movement. They were Robert Fitzgerald Diggs and Dennis Coles, who became known as RZA and Ghostface Killah.
So RZA and Ghost joined up with other rappers, including Old Dirty Bastard and Method Man, and this was the birth of the Wu-Tang Clan. They got their name from a kung fu movie called Shaolin and Wu-Tang. It's about a rivalry between two kung fu schools, like
the Bruce Lee,
early Bruce Lee movies, Fist of Fury or The Chinese Connection. I loved those when I was a kid. The first record was called 36 Chambers, and it was named after the 4 chambers of the heart of each of the 9 members.
Which is actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
So RZA was the de facto leader and producer who had this vision where he would assemble a large collective of rappers who'd each bring their own unique sound to create this supergroup, like a rapper supergroup. And the thing that really made this stand out from different collectives was that all of the members were still permitted to do their solo careers.
Right.
So it wasn't like they were obligated to one record company. As Wu-Tang, they released a total of 6 albums, all critically acclaimed, and at the same time, these individual members kept going on their solo careers.
Right.
That had tremendous influence on the world of hip-hop.
Yeah, so you mentioned they released 6 albums, but the subject of our podcast today is Once Upon a Time in Shaolin, which actually was never released. It was just sold. And this album is 128 minutes long. It's a double album. It includes 31 songs, skits, and stories, and it's packaged in a handcrafted silver and nickel case designed by a British Moroccan artist. And it includes a 174-page booklet wrapped in leather.
It's a book, a full 170-page book, yeah. It was produced by RZA and a protege of his named Silver Rings. They recorded it between 2007 and 2013, and apparently there are appearances by all like actors, athletes, and even Cher's on this thing, but we don't know because we can't listen to it.
Right.
The whole thing was shrouded in mystery, the whole process. And Method Man did a really interesting... Method Man's pretty cool. He did this interview with HuffPost in 2015, and he explains the process a little.
It's something about, and I don't like to say B, Wu-Tang artists, those that B-level, those B-level dudes and stuff, because Killer Army Sons of Man weren't B-level dudes to me. That's family. They were actually family to us. But then you got these other guys that are making moves under the flag, and they're doing BS stuff under the name of the flag. And people are thinking that that's associated with us, so we must be whack too. This dude with the whole, all right, I get the whole work of art thing. When we did it, he paid us to do the songs on that record as individuals, which he was supposed to do because, you know, this is RZA's protege. But you're not RZA. You're going to pay us for our labor. Paid us for it. It wasn't no Once Upon a Time in Shaolin. And it was just, you know, records here, get on this record. Then it turns into Once Upon a Time in Shaolin. Then it turns into a piece of art and the whole thing. So at first I'm like, all right, well, I'm scratching my head at first. All right, well, okay, cool. I guess, you know, they're going to make it a piece of art. That's brilliant. I've never seen that done before. And with the fact that albums aren't selling the way they are, you give them one copy, great. And yes, I'm discrediting Silver Rings, but I'm not discrediting the product.
So after the record was done, RZA and Silver Rings wanted to inspire a debate about the future of music by creating one single copy of this album that would be treated like a work of art. They believed that streaming and piracy had reduced the value of music to zero. Here's a clip of RZA talking about it at the Museum of Modern Art in New York City.
On March 26, 2014, we made an announcement that had resonated throughout the world, where we said that there'll be a new Wu-Tang Clan album entitled Once Upon a Time in Shaolin, but only one copy would ever exist. In doing this announcement, we reclaimed the idea that recorded music should be regarded as a work of art. The one copy concept, what is it? Well, after months of talking with experts and art people around the world, it came clear that what we was doing had no framework. It defied what the normal music industry standard was, and it defied what the normal art gallery display was.
MoMA.
Well, I guess art is subjective.
No.
Yeah,
it's not subjective is what I say it is.
I know. But
I know.
I mean, there's some amazing, beautiful art and artists.
No, of course there is. And the bad stuff, I guess, is those, gets a lot of publicity. But
some of the shit gets out of hand.
The reason I get all worked up about this shit is because, for example, recently, Jeff Koons is, a very famous modern artist who's done some okay stuff, but he just sold something he just got the most for a work of art of any living artist. He got $90 million for a thing, and I'm not being a smartass here. It's a Mylar rabbit. It's a stainless steel sculpture, but it looks like a Mylar rabbit, and it's not even the only one. He made a couple other ones.
Yeah, and there's this Chinese crypto guy that bought a banana that was taped with duct tape to a wall for $6.2 million, and after he bought this piece of art, he ate it. But he didn't eat the original one because evidently they changed the banana when the first banana got too ripe. They put in a new banana.
Yeah, so it was just a rando fucking banana.
Maybe from Whole Foods, you think? Sponsorship.
Sponsorship.
I mean, I hope they got it from Whole Foods.
Yeah, it just makes it hard to say, yes, it's subjective.
Yeah, that's just fucking... This is a guy with too much money.
And a banana.
Yeah. Love the Wu-Tang Clan? Hate the guy who ended up with their one-of-a-kind record?
Let us know what you think by emailing us at tabootreasures@evocreative.com or message us at Taboo Treasures on Instagram and TikTok. So now we're going to get into the actual auction of the record. The Wu-Tang Clan deleted all the master files of the album, so there could never be another copy. The one copy that they did have was sold in 2015 by an auction house called Paddle 8 in New York, who went bankrupt in 2020. Anyway, the conditions of the auction were unique, to say the least.
Yeah, so evidently you had to sign a contract if you win this auction, saying that you could only play this record at parties and in museums, and it could not be commercially exploited or released till the year 2103.
Which is how many years?
Well, they said it was 88 years from the sales date, so that was, 10 years ago? So 78 more years.
Can't wait.
You'll be listening to it in outer space or something. One of the other provisions in the contract is if you sold it after you won the auction, whoever bought it would have to follow by the same rules.
Yeah, and there's also a confidentiality clause that protects, keeps the information about the buyer and price secret, but the buyer himself went public when he bought it in 2015, and that's a whole other story. This guy, Martin Shkreli...
a real piece of work there.
Oh, yeah, little piece of shit tech bro internet troll. Actually a finance bro.
Pharma bro.
Pharma bro, sorry, yeah.
He's got many names, like a hip-hop guy.
Yeah, but he'd been in and out of trouble with the SEC for years.
Yeah. But after Shkreli won the auction, RZA found out that he'd been talking shit about him. Got to say that RZA handled it pretty cool. I mean...
Oh, under the circumstances,
he
was really restrained.
Cool.
Yeah.
Here's a little clip of RZA speaking with John Hellerman of The Circus in an interview on Bloomberg TV.
So this guy comes along, Martin Shkreli, who you don't really know. I guess you had lunch with the guy once, right?
Yeah. He was actually, he was present at this, we did a thing at MoMA where we played the 12 minutes, and he was also in that audience. So he heard the 12 minutes, and he just really enjoyed the music.
He's then quoted someplace in December, he said, about you, he said you were arrogant. And he said he'd given you a bunch of money, and he said, I'd encourage him to shut the up before he goes a little too far. We'll see what happens. I think he's a smart man. He definitely acts like his doesn't stink. And he invented rap, this concept of selling one album. This backfiring for him now. That's what he said about you.
Wow,
that seems a little hostile.
That's a little hostile, but what could backfire from creating a piece of art, having an idea, and to see it grow into fruition?
Does it bother you that that guy has the one copy of this record? He even said the other day he hasn't listened to it yet. He doesn't know when he's going to listen to it.
Right.
You know, it's like he's kind of taunting people. I bought the one copy. I'm not even going to listen to the damn thing.
He has the power to do something really cool. Right. He can, if he want to be philanthropic, he can do something that could allow more people to hear the record. Then that'll be something really good for art and really good for the Wu fans.
Wouldn't it have been really good for art and the Wu fans if they just released the thing?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. So most of the world knows Shkreli as the creep who shot up to the top of the supervillain charts after he became CEO of a company called Turing Pharmaceutical that manufactured a generic called Daraprim and had been prescribed for years to treat HIV and among other things. When Shkreli took over, he raised the price from about $13 per pill to around $750 per pill. And the shitstorm still rages on.
Yeah, but the fact is that the Daraprim story is not nearly as black and white as the media has made it out to be, inevitably. That's, and it's not, technically it's not even illegal. But the point is you want to wade into all that mess anyway.
Right, yeah.
What interests us about the guy has been lost in all the noise, which is that no matter what you might have thought about him after the price gouging thing, it turns out he's actually a lot worse.
Yeah, he was a criminal garbage human way before Turing. Back in 2007, he was sued by Lehman Brothers for failing to cover a transaction, but he got lucky when it was dropped when Lehman Brothers went broke during the recession in 2008. Then in 2009, he shorted 32 million shares of a company called Orexogen Therapeutics stock. Merrill Lynch lost $7 million on that trade, and Shkreli's company was wiped out.
Yeah, and in 2015, his shit really caught up with him, finally.
Pharmaceutical executive Martin Shkreli, characterized by some as public enemy number one for the alleged drug price gouging he's been accused of, is arrested Thursday morning for something else. He's now facing securities and wire fraud charges stemming from previous work at a hedge fund.
In 2017, he was found guilty on 2 counts of security fraud and 1 count of conspiracy to commit security fraud. To give you an idea what a creep this guy is while he was out on bond, he offered $5,000 to any of his Facebook fans who would grab a strand of Hillary Clinton's hair.
Yeah, unbelievable.
He might have had a crush on her. That got his bail revoked, so they put him in the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn while he awaited his trial.
Yeah, so finally in 2018, he was sentenced to 7 years in federal prison. And then in 2019, he lost his appeal, so not only did he have to serve out the rest of his sentence, but he ended up forfeiting almost $7.5 million in assets. Among the assets was a Picasso, and then, of course, the subject of today's podcast, the album Once Upon a Time in Shaolin. Then there's the beef between Shkreli and Ghostface Killah.
Where's the beef?
It's on all over the internet. It's awesome. There's way too much of it for us to do justice to it today in our little podcast. But if anyone listening to this wants to have fun, you have to go to YouTube and watch some of these videos. We'll give you a little sample right now. This is Shkreli, this little worm, baiting Ghost.
Most people don't ever try to beef with me. Do you know why? Every one of my enemies, they try to stay anonymous. It's just one of these things where, for whatever reason, you think it's okay to beef with me. You're an old man. You're an old man that's lost his relevance, and you're trying to reclaim the spotlight from my spotlight. That's not going to work, Ghost. Dennis. In fact, I think that if you ever say some dumb shit again, this album, this Shaolin, I'm going to erase all your shit from this album. I'm going to erase you from the record books of rap.
So,
yeah, that was. You see those guys behind him? They're all hiding.
Oh yeah, you got it. That's why you guys have to see the video, because
he's got the goons behind him.
These guys with masks.
They won't even show their face.
It's pretty embarrassing, but it's awesome. But so now we have a little snippet of Ghost responding, and if you can even believe it, this is how surreal the whole thing is. This is on Fox News with Maria Bartiromo.
Here we go.
Joining me right now in a Fox Business exclusive is Ghostface Killah, member of the Grammy Award-nominated hip-hop group Wu-Tang Clan. Good to see you, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
This is the guy right here that planned on challenging me, the man with the 12-year-old body. This who he be. His name is Shkreli right there. When y'all see him, you know what I mean? But I don't even know how it came to this like this. It's Ghost versus Peter Pan in like 2016. Walking around with fake goons like he's tough and he ain't got a real bone in his body.
Like we mentioned in the beginning of the podcast, we wanted to do an episode about the most expensive record. Here's a list of the top 10. Number 10, Frank Wilson, Do I Love You? Indeed I Do. Sold for $33,000. It was a demo there was only 250 singles pressed in 1965. And Berry Gordy, the founder of Motown, ordered the records to be destroyed because he didn't want his producers to have a successful career. There are maybe only 5 copies left, which makes it one of the most collectible 45s in music history.
Number 9 is Alcohol and Jake Blues by Tommy Johnson. It's an interesting one. There's a popular folk tale that some of you may have heard of about another Johnson, Robert Johnson, no relation, who sold his soul to the devil in exchange for becoming the greatest guitarist in the world. There was a movie called Crossroads about it. People have written songs about it. But according to Tommy's brother, Liddell, that story was actually Tommy's story. Alcohol and Jake Blues isn't the earliest blues record, but it's the most valuable ever sold at auction, bringing in $37,100.
Number 8 I never heard of. It's a test pressing by a guy by the name of Richard D. James under the alias Caustic Window. The album was called Aphex Twin. It was originally planned for release in '96, but only a few test pressings were produced. One of the copies sold in 2014 on eBay for $46,000.
Number 7 is the Beatles' Till There Was You. This isn't a standard record. It's a unique demo called an acetate. And in 1962, Brian Epstein, the Beatles' manager, gave it to their producer, George Martin, when Epstein was trying to get the Beatles a record deal. The acetate sold for $100,000.
Number 6 is the Beatles' Yesterday and Today, also known as the Butcher cover. It's a cover with the 4 guys in the band with baby dolls and meat draped on them, and they're all wearing white.
They're butcher smocks. And
yeah,
there's fake blood all over.
Yeah, it was like, and we used to talk about, it was like, how the hell did they get away with taking this picture for this record? I mean, so evidently it hit the pressing plant. They're making this record, and then finally somebody realized what the fuck was going on.
The record company wigged out.
Yeah, so the record company halted production, but instead of just throwing out those copies of the record, they made a sticker to put on top of it, which became Yesterday and Today. We used to have a friend back in the mid-'80s that would get a butcher. He could figure out that it was a butcher cover, and he would use alcohol and Q-tip to peel the top off. And back then, what, he'd get like $1,000?
Yeah.
$2,000 if it was in great shape.
Yeah, and it was it took hours.
Yeah, and it wasn't perfect. You could see marks, and so. But now these ones will go for $125,000. More Beatles.
Yeah, more Beatles. Number 5, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, which is probably their most iconic album. There was an original 1967 pressing signed by all 4 of them that was sold in auction to a Midwest buyer for $290,000.
Number 4 is not a Beatles record, but it is an Elvis Presley record called My Happiness. In 2015, Jack White of the White Stripes bought this test pressing of Elvis's first recording, making it the 4th most valuable record sale of all time at $300,000.
Then another Beatles record at number 3, the White Album, which is another iconic one, but I guess they all are. This one's cool because Ringo owned it himself, and it was the very first ever copy of the White Album in 1968. And get this, print number 0000001. It was the 3rd most valuable vinyl record in history, and it sold at an auction in the U.S. for $790,000. But why would he sell it?
Ringo.
He couldn't have possibly needed the money.
If anybody knows Ringo out there, can you ask him?
Ringo, if you're listening, which you almost definitely are.
Yes. Let us know.
Yeah.
Number 2, I wish it wasn't on the list, but it is. It's John Lennon and Yoko Ono's Double Fantasy. We talked about this record a little bit in our episode, Catcher in the Rye. It's the copy of Double Fantasy that Mark David Chapman had Lennon sign hours before he murdered him. It sold for $1.5 million in 2020.
And that brings us to the Wu-Tang Clan's Once Upon a Time in Shaolin. We know that Shkreli was the buyer, and as we mentioned earlier, he had to forfeit it to the DOJ, but the story doesn't end there. The company that bought it from the DOJ is called, I don't know, PLEASR, Pleaser Dow. Any thoughts on
I think probably Pleaser.
Pleaser.
Let's go. We're going to call it Pleaser.
Pleaser Dow. They paid $4 million for it and released an NFT you can buy for $1, which I guess somehow represents partial ownership of the album, and each $1 NFT purchase accelerates the release of the album by 88 seconds.
So we did the rough math on this. There are 31,536,000 seconds in a year.
Give or take.
Yeah, give or take. That means you'd have to sell about 36,000 NFTs to bring the release date up 1 year. Oh, man. According to their website, Pleaser DOA is a collective.
DAO.
Fuck yeah. Pleaser DAO is a collective of DeFi leaders, early NFT collectors, and digital artists who have evolved and elevated their mission to collect digital art that represents and funds important ideas, movements, and causes that have been memorialized on chain as NFTs. The fuck are they talking about? That's on their website, right?
No. Anyway, none of that means anything to us. But what we do know is that Shkreli claims to have made a lot of copies. Some he handed out to chicks, his word, to get laid.
Nice guy.
Yeah, and he said he said, I'm not stupid. I put copies in safes all over the world.
Anyway, a New York federal judge in 2024 ordered Shkreli, fucking guy, to return all the copies he ever made.
But sure, he'll do that.
Yeah, and get back any ones that he's given to anybody. I mean, how's he supposed to do that? That's not going to work. Who's going to give their copy back?
I'm not giving back my copy.
You got one?
Yeah.
Have you listened to it?
I'm not allowed.
That would have been better in the contract. You can buy this record, but you're not allowed to listen to it.
It would have made as much sense.
Yeah, pretty much. Would have been. So how many girls do you think he gave copies to?
Oh, probably dozens, right?
How many other dozens do you think that actually girls fucked him?
Probably none.
I hope not. I mean, I hope nobody fucked him.
Yeah.
But anyway, if anybody wants to educate us more on hip-hop, which we need it, and NFTs, which we don't really care.
Which no, please.
Please drop us a line. And thanks for listening. Please spread the word on the show if you like it, or even if you don't like it. Maybe you hate us.
Don't tell other people you hate us.
Yeah, no, you say, we hate these guys. You should listen to them.
And Ringo, if you're out there, we want to know why you sold that record.
So that does it for this week's episode of Taboo Treasures. If you got any thoughts and want to teach us about hip-hop or NFTs or whatever.
No NFTs.
You can email us at tabootreasures@evocreative.com or message us at Taboo Treasures on Instagram and the TikTok.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. There are tens of dollars at stake, so please hit that like button.
Bye-bye. From EVO, Taboo Treasures is produced by Bruce Whitkin and Jeff Levine. Executive producer Brandon Morgan. Music by the Lonely Bulls.